I'm here with
Thank-
Sophia, also known as Fia. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ryan. I'm doing very well and I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Man, I really enjoy your music. I was looking at your music video, Dance in the Dark, before the interview, and like some of the other songs that you've done before. I was like just really blown away. I had seen you playing at the downtown LA, like at the arts exhibit, and like you were playing wonderfully. And like I asked if you would do this virtual interview, and you did. And thank you so much for taking the time. I wanted to ask you, what first inspired you to start making music, and how did your early music influences shape your sound?
So, I don't think there was ever like an inspiration, for me to choose music. I didn't choose music. Music chose me. It's not like what I do, it's who I am. It's in my blood, it's in the family. My father, unfortunately, is no longer with us. It'll be 5 years, December 3rd, since he passed from cancer, but he very much is the music in me. He was a musician and he was a lead guitarist. He's played with Eddie Money, Loverboy Santana, and he was music obsessed. And he thought it was one of the most important thing in the world, and it is. And so he was very supportive of that, and he was the music ingraining us in us, and he was a European, so I got the European revolution of music and the American revolution of music from my mother, who grew up here and grew up in the 60s and the 70s, on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. And she was also a huge part of this too, though not as musically inclined as my father. And she was the person who gave my brother and I, who's also a full-time artist and musician, incredible, the confidence to do what we do and to be who we are. And she was the one who was like, you're going to perform every time there's a human being in front of you. And so, which is maybe given me some borderline personality disorder. No, but no, I'm just kidding. But it's been a really good thing. So they were both a huge part in that.
No, you're really great to witness you perform music live, and it's an incredible story. And I was looking on your Instagram, I was seeing like you were talking about in your story you had like you miss your dad, and you have like I scrolled down and you have some posts about him where he was in the French army. Can you tell that like story of like how your your dad, like being from France, like ended up like meeting your mom, who you said was from Pennsylvania, and like creating you, who's a talented musician, and your brother is a talented musician as well. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's actually a really crazy story. And it's like kind of long, but I'll make it a little short. Um, my mother, it's actually really beautiful and crazy. It could be a movie. My mother was living in Morocco in her 20s. She was like
Okay.
22, 3. She was living in Morocco with like a prince in this gorgeous big home in Morocco. And my father was living in France. That's where he's from. But he was coming to America, to Wisconsin, which is where I was born. He was coming to Wisconsin to teach English after having been an officer in the French army, military, and teaching English as an officer in the French military. So he decided to come here. Now, this was back in the day, like in the 80s, when flights could be changed at any moment. So what happened was my dad was already this day scheduled to fly from France to Wisconsin. My mother was not. She was living here with her boyfriend, and he had a long term girlfriend in France, and she has this long term boyfriend in Morocco. But she woke up one morning. She wakes up, and immediately a flying cockroach hits her in the face, and she was just like, I can't stay here anymore. I need to go home. I need to go to America. And so that day, she decided to change her flight, and it ended up on the same flight from that area of the world. I'm really bad with geography. Europe. Is Morocco in Europe? I don't know. Sorry, but they both ended up on the same flight. On this flight, they don't speak at all. And also, side note, my father grew up partly in Africa as well, so he was really, really communal and loved African American people. So, on this flight, they don't talk, and they ended up getting on a bus. Now they're on this bus, and it's a long bus ride. It's like 3 hours. My mom ends up sitting right behind my father, who's the super chatterbox, if you can't tell. Apple doesn't fall far. Super chatterbox. So, but he's talking to this African American guy, and he's so enthralled with him the whole time. Doesn't care about my mother at all. This man gets off the train or off the bus, and they probably have an hour left, and my dad just turns around, says hi to my mom, and they start chatting. And at the end of this bus ride, he gives her a little little piece of paper with his name and number on it. She just throws it in her purse and she goes back home. At this time, she's living with her younger sister, Melissa, and it's freezing in Wisconsin. It's freezing in Wisconsin. So it's wintertime. And Melissa, her chore is to take the trash out. But it's been so cold that she isn't doing it. And so weeks go by and after this bus ride, after my mom gets the note, she forgets about my dad. She never called him. And weeks go by, maybe a month. She's going through her purse and she's just organizing it and cleaning it. She finds the number and she's like, well, this was forever ago, so let me just go throw it in the trash. Well, it sits on top of the trash, the full trash, which was supposed to be taken out by Melissa, but it was so cold in Wisconsin that Melissa was ignoring her chores. So like a week goes by and my mom is continuously looking at this number on the top of the trash can and she's like, okay, whatever, I guess I'll call him. So she calls him, they start hanging out, they become friends. She still has her boyfriend in Morocco. He still has his girlfriend in France. And then I don't know, maybe a year goes by and my dad's visa is going to expire and he's got to go back to France. And one night he's cooking my mom pasta and in very much my dad fashion, he just like, they're kind of talking, what are we going to do? Like, you know, and they've been messing around a little bit, right? They've been messing around. Okay. So, and they still have their relationships. They're like, what are we going to do? And my dad, he's cooking pasta and he just like throws the wooden spoon and he looks around and he's like, baby, let's get married. And so they're like, okay. So they decide to get married. And my dad decides we are each going to write our significant others in Morocco and France a letter, a goodbye letter. And so my dad writes his. He writes this beautiful long letter to his girlfriend. And, you know, says, thank you so much. I loved you so much, but I've met someone else and da 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 da. And my mom, she's stalling on it. She doesn't want to do it. She's too afraid. She doesn't want to hurt him. And so finally my dad's like, screw it, I'm writing it. So he writes the letter. He writes this gorgeous, like 3-page letter detailing all their love and experiences and just being so kind and wonderful. And at the end, he says, you know, but we have to separate because I've met someone else. My dad went to the grave or to the ashes, not knowing that this happened. My mother sent that letter, but she erased that last line because she was too afraid. She didn't want to tell him she met someone else. She didn't want to give him that pain. It was enough. I'm done. We're done. So they both send their respective letters. My dad gets a letter back, not from the girlfriend, from the girlfriend's parents, who committed suicide after she received her love letter.
Oh, wow.
And in very much like my dad's fashion, he didn't speak for, this makes me emotional, like a week. He was in his bedroom for a week, wouldn't eat, wouldn't talk. Finally, a week later, he comes out, and we're not religious. We're just honest, He comes out and he goes to my mother and he says, do you think that it's my fault? And she said, no. And he said, do you think that she's in heaven? And my mom, not being religious, but being comforting, said yes. And he said, okay. And then he went back to his room. And then the next day he came back out and he was able to live again. And he never spoke about that again. My mother didn't receive a letter for an entire year. 1 year later, she receives a letter back from her significant other. And he said, I have finally awoken from the coma, the deep sleep that you've put me in. And that's my parents' love story. So it's this flying cockroach, this, African-American, the trash can, it's beautiful and crazy and it's coincidental and I'm here.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm glad you're here. That shows I feel like how intense love can be. It's very that's amazing story.
I'm very glad it exists. I love that story. And I'm sorry I tried to make it short. It's just
no,
not
no, that's
short.
great. That's amazing. Morocco is in North Africa, by the way. It's by Spain, but
That's good. Now I know. My mom also lived in Africa. Got it. Okay.
how would you describe your unique style or sound, and how do you feel it has evolved since you began?
Sure. For me, there's definitely artists and music that I grew up listening to that I'm obsessed with. I love Kate Bush. I love Jeff Buckley. I love, those chromatic and weird, rubby, dissonant. But for me, I think that and I'm sure the music that I hear plays an influence in my writing. But when I write, I'm not like, oh, I'm going to write a song like Kate Bush. It just doesn't happen that way. And I also don't just write I don't write a song because I want to write a song. For me, my writing process, and it's different for a lot of people, is it's almost like, and sorry to be crass, but it's almost like vomit. I just like there's a feeling in my stomach, and I know that means go sit at your instrument. There's a piano, go sit at your piano, go sit at your guitar. There's a song, and then it just literally like projectiles out of me all at once. I mean, the melody, the lyrics, the harmony, the chords, it's all just like in like 15 minutes. It's like an emotional outpouring. And for sure, my music has grown. I've learned myself better. I used to want to go for like a pop, you know, when I was Stella Rain, that was the pop version of me who was trying to appeal to, you know, the masses. But what I realized was that, again, I'm not choosing music, it's choosing me. And so I have to do it the way that I have to do it. And I can't sacrifice what I love and what sounds good to me for the masses. I don't need to make something that's digestible for you, because this isn't about me wanting to create something. I mean, I do love to create, I'm a creative, but like, this is just what comes out of me. It's just, it's out of my control. And I want to do it in the way, and I'm in love with music, and I want to do it. It's my baby. This is my life's work. I want to do it in the way that makes me feel good. Because when I was Stella Rain and I was producing pop music for the masses, first of all, you know, yeah, there are people who like it, but like, if it's not authentic to me and my heart and my soul, it's not going to do as well as what is. And so I went through like this big depression for like 6 months. And I'm also a full-time career singer. So I do almost 30 shows a month. And I went through like 6 months of like, I didn't work at all. And I spent like basically all my fucking savings. Oops, I'm so sorry.
It's
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
It's okay.
Sometimes I'm a bit of a sailor. I spent all my savings. I've been doing good. I spent all my savings and kind of had to go through this depression of like, okay, you know what? If I'm never famous, that's fine. I don't want to spend my life hounding TikTok because I have to be famous. That's not what this is about for me. I need to make what I love, and if I'm authentic to me, then that will find its audience. And if it ever gets famous, then I'm so grateful for that. But if it doesn't, this is still my baby. This is what I get to look back on at the end of my life and show my children. So I think the way like my music has changed the most, not necessarily stylistically, because I've always been the like moody, kind of angsty, rocker, sultry, very honest and apologetic writer and singer that I am. And I've always like loved the same kind of melodies. But what's happened is that I've just really taken authority over what I want to put out, and I just have to do it for me and not for anybody else. And that's been the biggest journey for me musically.
That's incredible. And I was listening to some of your earlier music from like your first EP that you put out, and I enjoyed those songs as well. I think your new music is really great. Like you were saying like you weren't religious in the video I watched, like though it was a lot of crosses.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Dance in the Dark. Yeah, we did do that at like at a church. And you know, to me, when it comes to religion and like the term God, I think it means something different to everybody. But honestly, in my opinion, it's kind of all encompassing. It's all under the same umbrella. So like for someone who's Christian and, you know, believes in the Bible and Jesus, well, Jesus was a human being. Jesus was a real person, but you know, like God being creating all whatever, like that's for me, in my opinion, that's their interpretation of the same thing that I believe, which is just, I'm on the side of like just calling it and thinking it's something different, where I'm like, I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual. I'm the universe, you know, the earth. Who I pray to is the universe, and I call her Looney. I call her Looney. So I'm like, Looney, I talk to Looney, I'm like, Looney, and Looney, you know, I'm so grateful for this. So for me, like what is religious is gratitude, kindness, love, art, creativity. I think that transcends all. And for me, and also on top of all of that, energy. I'm a big like energy girl. I think that is God. I think God is energy. And for me, I think that like the reality that anyone and everyone wants to live in, like let's say me, you know, wanting to be completely autonomous with my music and make all my money off of that, whatever. That reality does exist. It's already existing, and I 100% can have it. It's just vibrating at a frequency that I am not vibrating at. So I need to raise my energetic frequency and vibrate there. But that's really hard to do, because as much as I'm like, yeah, I'm really talented, I've got everything, on a day-to-day basis, when things are not changing in front of your eyes, it's very hard to actually feel and exist in your current reality like you're already existing in the one you want to live in. It's really hard to do, but that's the key. And I think once I can capture that and do that and just be so grateful and like basically wake up every day as if I already have my Grammy. I'm already doing my headline tour. I already, like all that stuff. If I feel that and I know it, then it will exist. But that's the hard part. That is so hard to master because I live with anxiety and doubt and fear, as we all do. But
Wow.
that is God and religion, yeah. And I feel they're one and the same, and so I respect all of that and vice versa.
How do you stay motivated and inspired during challenging times in your music career? Because for musicians, there's a lot of costs, like, going to the studio, making sure your songs are, mixed and mastered properly, having the right wardrobe, like all these, like, things, and then not necessarily seeing a return on that investment.
Yeah, that's kind of the bane of my existence. And the way I would own a home right now if it didn't cost so much freaking money to be this talented, like and to do what I want to do. I just paid a 40-piece orchestra in Budapest $1,000 for 2.5 minutes of music, because I need real orchestra, I need real strings and all of that. That's what my music needs. I'm not too into the MIDI production stuff and totally, it's just not my genre. That's very much more pop and I'm a little bit more indie, alt kind of thing. So I need those real organic instruments. And yes, I work with a team. I don't do all my own production and mixing and stuff. It's insanely expensive. But you know what? The thing I have to think of is, first of all, I'm investing in myself and whether or not that returns on money. I spend my life every single day in a recording studio. Like, how lucky am I? I am
Yes.
so lucky. And then not only that, I am a full-time singer. I do a show almost every night, and I already get to experience. I'm a local celebrity here in Orange County. I already get to experience all of that, and I'm so grateful for everything that I have now. The life and the gift that I've been given, which sometimes makes me feel a little bit like an imposter because it feels like I didn't. I mean, I certainly have worked. I went to school for music. I'm selling myself to get these jobs and stuff, but for the talent, it feels like I didn't have to work for it. So sometimes that makes me feel guilty, but it's just the gift I was given and I'm lucky for that. And I have found a way to hack the system. I'm not in the 9 to 5, traditional workforce. I don't have a boss. I don't wake up to alarms. I can travel for 3 months and my work will still be here. I work for 3 hours at night and I meet people and I'm doing what I love and I'm making great money. I'm so grateful for my life. And it used to plague me, how much money I would be spending. And that still does stress me out, but because it's expensive. But I am spending on my money on something that is important to me and important for the world. Music is so important. And so it's, every job and every hobby and every whatever is going to have a downside. And so I'm just grateful for the insane upsides. I mean, it's not even at all. These are the downsides. Here are the upsides. It's
Yeah,
worth it.
I appreciate your art. Like, I think you're an incredibly, like, talented artist, and like I'm a fan now. Like, especially like hearing your story and connecting it with the music is so amazing. I look forward to seeing like what you do next in your career. Are there any artists or producers you dream of collaborating with, and why?
That's a good that's a good question. Many of them are dead. I am an old soul. Someone who, my brother's getting, you should interview him. He's getting
I'd love to.
some fame in LA. And Miley Cyrus recently just asked him to do piano on her upcoming Tiny Desk for NPR, which she canceled because she's Miley Cyrus and she can do
Right.
that. She only performs at Chateau Marmont now. Good for her. But like, he's really in the mix with a bunch of these people. And so I would love to sing with Miley. And I kind of joke with him because I grew up just obsessed with Hannah Montana and like Miley. I loved her so much. And my brother was always like, "Me, me, me, me," silly Disney shows. And now he's like working with her and he's like, "Oh, congrats on your album." And I'm like, okay, kiss ass. But I'm just kidding. No, I'm so happy for him. But like, I love her. And gosh, if I can get the chance to be next to her, that would be amazing. Also, Stevie Nicks, love. Jeff Buckley's dead. But man, I would love to have him and I, we would have collabed for sure. We would have been up each other's alley. So but in my brother, he's someone I want to collab with so badly as an artist. And sometimes I am lucky enough to get to feature his voice on my album. But I would love to collaborate with my brother on like actual songs that we write and performances together. Not because of his growing fame, but because we sound like heaven together, and I adore my brother. I'm his number one fan. I have his name tattooed on my foot, so I love that guy. I'm a huge fan, and I would love to do music with him because we sound insane together, and he's amazing.
Yeah, I
So
bet. Like, that's amazing. Like that you both are like, pursuing the same career, that music was such a focal point in your households, and you both
yeah.
like, can be like, working musicians. I think that it says a lot, and like, that it's not an easy thing to do.
No, but for us, it has felt easy because it's just love. It's just
Yeah.
love, and yeah, I'm like, you think I'm good? Go see my brother. Go check his stuff out because he's insane. But it's funny. I'll just say, the household that we grew up in. Like one of the things is, right when my brother and I were newborns, we grew up. We were born in Wisconsin, but came here very early. I was 3. I think he was 4 or 5. So back in the day when we first got this house, this room was my father's office, and we had a guest bedroom downstairs, which is now the office. And the door next door, my brother and I shared when we were kids. We slept in there. But I was, but even back in Wisconsin, newborn baby comes out, and the friends would come over to the house. Hey, don't your kids need to be asleep? Like music blasting through the house. I mean, it was loud every day coming in here. And my parents were like, yeah, they're fine. They're fine with the music. So like, and in the womb, I'm hearing it like loud. I'm talking. It was never quiet in this house. That's what I miss so much about my dad's presence is the two things you could expect walking into this home when my father was alive was music, really good music, blasting, and the smell of whatever he was cooking, and he always was. And anyway, that's a a detour, but we grew up immersed in loud music and very variety. Everyone always tells me you have such a wide range and da 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 da. I grew up listening to like everything ever, and so yeah, I'm emotional because he's not here anymore, but I am so grateful to my both my parents. So grateful.
Yeah,
Because actually, really quick, so sorry. My dad, he wanted to be a musician. He wanted to do that for work. And he told his mother, I want to be a guitarist. I want to tour and do guitar. And she said, go get a real job. And so he did. He worked in IT and he did so many masters and he was brilliant. But he was in love with music. And so he encouraged his children to do music. And we took music lessons all growing up. Go to college, study music. You have to go to college, but you're allowed to study music. And he would just be so proud. He died before seeing that I did this. But I'm a full-time musician. I'm my own boss. I love it, and all the things that he wanted me to do when he was alive, and I just didn't have time for it, didn't care about. It's all the things I care about now, and I'm working so hard to like make him proud on. But yeah, it was just funny because he wanted to do this, and his parents told him no, so he told us yes, and I could not be more grateful for that support because you need it.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
How do you balance your music career with other interests or aspects of your life?
There's not much balance with that. Music is like I was looking at my calendar this month trying to find a day off, and I think there was one day, and it wasn't a weekend, where I wasn't singing, where I wasn't in the studio, where I wasn't at a show. But it's okay because first of all, it's a pretty social job. I mean, I meet hundreds of people every day who love me, which is awesome. But there is not much balance, especially because I'm booked and busy. I've got gigs. I'm out through 27. So for me, it's
Wow.
very, yeah, I'm plan in advance girl. And so that's what I do, though. I have the ability to plan in advance, and so I do that. And I work so much, and my venues love and respect me so much that if I'm like, hey, tonight I'm going to have this person cover me, I mean, they're usually disappointed that I won't be there, but they're okay with that. And so it's just a lot of moving parts. It's not necessarily like I'm able to always make plans and stuff, and I miss a lot. I do miss a lot of friend events and family events, and that can be really hard, and it totally is taxing because all my shows happen at night and weekends when people are off enjoying their life. But there doesn't need to be much else in my life than music because that's what makes me so happy. I do have friends that I can see every once in a while. And I love to like be outside and shop and do all the fun things, but I just don't have much time for it, and I'm okay with it because I'm doing what I love every day.
What role does social media and platforms like TikTok play in sharing your music and connecting with fans?
You're asking where can they find me? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So TikTok. I suck at social media, you guys, but I'm really trying to work on this. I'm 29, so I was like kind of like missed the cusp of like we're growing up on social media. But I'm trying. I'm really trying to like be authentic and not cringe at myself every time I post. I'm on Instagram. It's at Sophia Rolando Music. That's SOPHIA ROLLANDO Music. I have my latest release online. I'm not the only PHIA who is creating music, and I'm not the most famous one yet. So if you want to look up my latest release, it's called Comfortable Denial by PHIA, PHIA. That's Comfortable Denial, and it's streaming everywhere, Spotify, Apple Music. It's really great, kind of a Paramore pop punk vibe. On TikTok, I am also Sophia Rolando Music. I think YouTube, same. Facebook, Sophia Rolando, or PHIA, I have a page. But and if you're interested in booking, I'm also, solo singer or with a full band or any configuration of anything. I travel anywhere, and I'm happy to do any event. That's sophiarolandomusic@gmail.com. So
What advice would you give to aspiring musicians trying to find their voice today?
I would say that, man, there's a lot of things I've learned. One thing, there's a couple little things I'd say. One thing is it's gonna be really normal to like not believe in yourself, to be totally discouraged, but you have to just push through that because you could be looking at your yard, right? You look at your neighbor's yard and there's a massive diamond on top of it, and under his lawn the diamond is this big. Your diamond on your lawn might be this big, but if you keep digging, you might have an iceberg under there, So just keep pushing because it's never too late. Talent will always prevail. There is a market out there for everything. I could pluck my eyelashes out on camera and eat them, and I would have a million people who would love to pay to see that. Sorry, that was a really weird thing. It was the first thing my head thought of. But like, there is a market for everything.
Right.
It takes a minute to find your voice and to truly know who you are. And I don't think that journey actually ever even ends. I think it's evolution continuously. And like Martha Stewart says, once you stop evolving, once you stop learning, you're through. Once you're through with all of that, you're through. So you never stop anyway. There is no finding my voice. It's okay to be this. It's okay to be that. You don't need to be put in a box. Just be authentic. Be unapologetic. Put yourself out there, and you just have to keep going. You just have to love it. It has to be for the love of it and nothing else. So, I don't know. There's probably so much I could say. It's a hard business.
Yeah, most definitely. That sounds like wise advice. What's next for you creatively or career-wise that your fans will be excited about?
Yeah, well, like I said, I just hired that 40-piece orchestra. I'm working on like 20 songs right now. I have so many songs. I have this whole album that I don't know if I'm going to like release as an album. I think I might release it as singles, but it's all about this man I've continued to be in love and obsessed with for the last 5 years, who every song that you guys hear is about. And he's amazing, and I'm still like with him, but it's all about how much I'm in love with this man. I have a gorgeous song called Life Sentence coming out. I think my next song, though, is going to be called I'd Rather Be Asleep, and we're going to have a music video coming out with that. And I think what's going to be what I'm most excited about, that I hope that my fans and future fans and listener, and I hope this will expand my reach, is that I'm really going to focus this year on putting out really good visuals. And I suck at like completing music videos and doing them and putting them out and planning that. But I think another thing about like finding your voice and continuing that journey is I never used to have ideas about what I want my visuals to look like, especially when I was like Stella Rain, because she wasn't authentic to me. Now PHIA and what I'm doing is me and mine and what I want, and I don't really care if you like it. And the ideas are just, they're just popping off. So I'm really excited about all of the visuals I have coming out this year, and I think that that's going to really help expand my reach and hopefully help people kind of get into the world and connect with me. And I want my fans to know that like I want to always be approachable, no matter how big I were to ever get, if that ever happens. I want to be your friend. I love people so much. It makes me emotional. I'm like emotional today. I don't know why, but like it makes me like I'm such a huge empath. I love people so much, and I just want my message to my fans, and to, even if you're not my fan, to just be unapologetic. There's a million perspectives. It's okay to be different. To quote my brother in one of his lyrics from his song Seven Faces, difference is not deficit. And if you love me, you love me. If you don't, I still love you. I want to be your friend. I want you to be able to talk to me. I want to be able to connect with my audiences and show my bare soul and allow them to feel comfortable doing the same, because It's hard to be human. Shameless plug. That's a song I have. But and it truly is. It's so hard,
For
and
sure.
we're all messed up, and we all hurt each other, and we all say the wrong thing and do the wrong thing, and it's okay. The only thing that matters is that the next day is a new day, and you can start over and be the best version of yourself. And everybody just needs to remember that kindness, love, art, creativity transcends over everything. That's the most important thing in the world. And so with all of that, we can we can all succeed and live in peace and happiness.
Most definitely. I love your vibe. And like when we saw you at the downtown LA art event, and you were just so like, approachable, and like, you agreed to do the interview and like follow through and I actually do it. Like, and then like also like, did the on camera interview with my friend. And I just like, think like, a lot of artists though, they're sometimes like, they're not really good with the follow through. Then they're also like, even like sometimes they're very introverted. Like, I don't really want to do an interview. And I feel like, you're the exact opposite. I love that energy. The fact that you do so many shows live, can you share a memorable performance or experience or tour moment that impacted you personally or professionally?
Sure. Really quick, I want to say on your friend's interview, it's not. I am a little introverted. I was kind of scared for this today, only because I watched your friend's interview and I wanted to share it, but I felt embarrassed of myself because I said something that, and this is what's scary about being live. I'm a singer. I make music. I being in the press and on camera, that part can be scary for me. And though I'm really good with authentic conversation and I'm witty and I'm quick, when I'm being like interviewed as like a artist, that can be scary and you can say the wrong thing. And I felt like I said the wrong thing last time because I said something about, in a similar vein today, I said I'm more of an organic artist. The MIDI stuff is more of on a pop thing. But the way I explained that in his interview felt rude and like I was demeaning people who use MIDI. And I don't want that to be the case. Like, it's not my thing for my music, but there are so many songs that use it that I'm obsessed with. So that's that.
Right, right.
But so I wanted to say that, and thank you to your friends, and thank you to you so much for meeting me. But yeah, I love people, so I'm glad that that translates and that you feel that I'm approachable because I want to be disarming. I love humans so much. Every day, really every day is memorable for me at work because that's one thing I love about it. Every time that I go there, I have a memorable experience. I meet someone. That's what it is. That's one thing I love about my job. It's a transfer of energy. I'm giving you mine and you give me yours back and we connect that way. And that's what I love about music. When we're in a room singing Sweet Caroline, Sweet Home Alabama, whatever we're singing, we're all singing that. And it doesn't matter where you came from, what you believe in, who you voted for, anything. We are one in that moment. And that to me is the magic of music. But there are some shows that I absolutely love. I love performing solo. I do, and I make way more money doing that than performing with a band. But performing with a band is the love of my life. I don't want to be behind an instrument. I am a complete performer. I want to be dancing on bars and singing in your face and being in the crowd. So one event that I just love that's actually coming up because the holidays are coming up is we headline, and I'm in Orange County, not LA, but Corona Del Mar. There's the Corona Del Mar Christmas Walk every year, and my band for the last 4 years has headlined that in the beer garden. There's like 4,000 people in front of me, which if you know me as an artist and a performer, the more eyes on me, the more I'm performing, and that makes me live. And that gives me adrenaline. So Christmas Walk. I'm so sorry. Got that. Christmas Walk, Corona Del Mar is coming up, and that is such a fun vibe. And everyone's dressed in holiday attire, and I get to just go in the audience and sing with them, and so that's one that like sticks out to me every single year, and I just cannot wait for that date to come every year.
Most definitely. Like, I didn't know you were from Orange County, but I think I saw something like where you were performing with like the Saddleback Choir. Isn't that like the Saddleback
Yeah,
Church?
I mean that was a long
Yeah,
time ago when I was in college. Wow, you really did your research.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I was looking through. Yeah, like that was pretty cool.
So you really did see my first EP because I took that off the internet except for maybe SoundCloud. I actually want to redo that EP in my new with my. I mean, I sound so young on that. I love those songs too, though. But yeah, Saddleback was so long ago, but I grew up in choir. I was always in choir, and so anything music, drama, choir, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. You can find a lot on the internet. Like I try to, just do research so like I know like but like you're really like an incredible artist and like I'm really honored, like, that you came on and we had a great conversation. I'd love to have you back anytime. Like, plug me with your brother. I'd love to speak with him as well. And
I would
just
love to
like,
have you.
yeah,
Yeah.
just thank you so much for taking the time. And, I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. This has been lovely. You're such a good interviewer. So I really appreciate that. And where can I find this? Where am I going to hear this? Where can I tell my friends and family?
And so on my YouTube channel, at Ryan Glover 5129, and then like I'll share some clips on Instagram, like at Media Glover on Instagram, on TikTok, uh, at Ryan Glover 18. Yep.
Okay, perfect. And you know what? You sent me your YouTube. I got to subscribe to that. And then this will be, do you know when this will be posted?
Today, yeah. So yep.
Oh,
This,
wow.
yeah,
Okay, well, cool.
as soon as we get off, like I'm gonna upload it. So like thank you and
Awesome. Well, I'm
definitely.
super excited to share it, and I'm really, really honored for the opportunity. Thank you so much for this wonderful interview and for giving me the practice to be in front of a camera and talk about myself, which is really hard. But thank you so much.
You're welcome, and you're gonna do like world tours. You're very talented. Like I really believe, like that I could see you like being like the next big artist, and I'm honored to have you here first. So
Thank you
definitely,
so much. I can't thank you enough, anybody enough for the support, and I always hope to return all of the love and support that I can.
most
So thank you
definitely,
so much, truly.
definitely. You have a great day.
You too. Happy Friday. Happy weekend.
Happy Friday.
Bye.